Welcome to episode 16 of the savagiest discourse you've ever seen.
The most savage.
Don't start off
The
that
most
way.
savage of all time.
I don't want that on our show. Get that out of here.
What?
You know
That's just how I talk.
Is that how you talk?
That's how I talk. Everybody knows that's how I talk.
Use the best words.
I have the best
I
words.
have the best dictionary access to the tremendous words.
Tremendous words.
I don't think anyone's gonna listen past this point.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
We've turned off our 17 subscribers.
I don't know. It works for that guy. He
The
kind of got appointed to the highest office off of that shit.
Oh, that's right. You talking about the sex worker guy?
Mhm.
Guy? Yeah.
Sure am.
Welcome back, you guys.
Hi.
It's it's Tuesday, in October.
Tuesday.
And we're just sitting on this couch having ourselves a gay old in the old sense of the word.
An old with an E.
Old, yeah, gay time.
Gay oldie.
Having some Elijah Craig
Mm-hmm.
together
Yep.
as a family, and it's great.
It is great. It's Elijah great.
And you know why we're celebrating this episode, Kyle?
I do know why. Tell the fans.
Oh
though.
my God. Okay, let's say what? Why?
Oh.
Kyle, do you know why we're celebrating?
Why, John?
Because I'm gonna be a dad. I'm gonna be a father.
Oh, you are.
I'm gonna be a father. Well, a father with an asterisk.
You're a
after.
father in the most raw biological sense.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're reading a text, and afterward there's a little bitty footnote that's like a 1, and you go to the bottom of the page, and it's like some terms and conditions may apply. So, I, John of Savage Discourse, I met several amazing ladies who are married. When it was not in their wedding. I attended the wedding. And that's awful pretentious of me to say that I was in the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I attended the wedding, and I have known them now for almost 5 years. They're amazing women. They work in the human mental health services, usually with individuals with autism and other. It's called something different. It used to be called pervasive developmental disorders. Now I think it's called NDDs, neurodevelopmental disorders, and they do DSM-5.
Oh.
Starting out on the throne. And,
Whoa.
yeah. Anyway, they, because they are both ladies, are not able, except unless they engage in what I think Jesus' mother did. What's it called? Parthenogenesis, where the egg fertilized itself.
It's actually technically called a lie.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that there's a much shorter abridged way to say that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so outside of, divine intervention, there was really no way for them to get. So instead of going to a sperm bank, we had a friendship and we've known each other for quite a few years. They very nicely, chose me as the archetype for their child. And so we've been talking about it for years. And
Yeah, you have.
yeah, and I told my favorite joke is that whenever the child is born, and as I'm, in its life as a satellite, I will refer to myself as Uncle Gene. Get it? Because I'm donating half of my genetic material.
I know.
You get it?
I do.
Oh my God, that's the funniest joke I've ever created. I laughed for like a month.
You're still laughing.
I
It's
do
been
because I think
years.
it's so witty. It's so small. It's shop wit.
Wicked smart.
Wicked. So anyway, I am celebrating. They came over and sat on the. Let's talk about this process because
right.
you were actually there.
Yeah,
for
I
one
got
of the
to meet
nights.
these ladies.
So amazing human beings. And they finally are in a place. They moved in the state of Louisville, in the city of Louisville, Kentucky, to a house where they feel more comfortable that they're going to be for a long time. They finally feel settled. And so they said, hey, it's time to pull the trigger on getting that baby batter. And I was like, it's cooking. And
got
we're
a fresh
baking. I
batch.
guess you bake it. I guess you bake batter. Like you don't cook batter.
I don't know.
Cake bake batter. Bake cake batter. You don't cook soup batter. Soupy baked cake batter. Anyway, I'm getting lost in the weeds.
I'm lost in the sauce.
I'm getting lost. Literally. It's very sticky here.
Oh, John.
So, anyway, this is a great start. So
we're gonna get demonetized.
We're gonna lose that 0.05 cents we get. Anyway, I haven't gotten my 0.05 cents.
Me neither. We're due almost like 3 pennies each at this point.
All right, we need to reach out to our legal team and have them contact YouTube because that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so they came over and they said that they were ready for that magic to happen. So it was the most non-intimate thing I've ever done in the act of procreation.
Can confirm.
So they came over. They actually had this. It's called a Mosey baby kit. I think it's
Mosey.
I think that's what it's called, and it's something you can buy online. It's like $80, and essentially it's a glorified sterilized plastic pea cup with 2 teeny tiny, super cute sterile baby basters. And so, man, this is a great episode right off the bat. We're getting into all the humors, the body fluids. Did you know that people used to believe that your personality was dictated by 4 humors you had in your body, which were fluids? Isn't that crazy?
It sure is.
People also used to think that the nature of the benefit that was conferred by eating plants was signaled by what was called divine signature. So beans that looked like kidneys, they would eat and they'd be like, "Oh, it's good for your kidneys." Like plants that had kind of looked like a heart would be good for your heart. It's called the doctrine of divine signatures.
So why they start eating bananas?
Someone saw the potassium in the phallus, and they were like,
"Ooh,
I'm going to tell everyone it's for potassium and not because I really like the shape of this fruit." Anyway, so they came over and we sat down and we were all giggly and excited and it was kind of awkward. But I was eating yogurt at the time, and so they were like, "What are you eating?" I was like, "Oh, I'm only eating cum." I keep wanting to say cum flavored, but I'm only eating cum looking foods because it's yogurt. And they were like, "That's disgusting. Why would you eat that?" I'm like, "It's yogurt." So
you wouldn't understand.
You don't get the process. This is my process. And so we sat down, we talked about it, and I was like, "Explain it to me." They're like, basically, do you go into your room, do your thing, make your deposit, which is the most inhuman, like removed from everything kind of way to talk about leaving your jism in a cup, and bring it out here, and then we have an hour to go home and syringe it up, and then insert it against the into the oh no. What is it called?
The verguba.
Oh, thank you. I always get really nervous when I talk about it. The verguba. And so this Virginia, you want to put it really far in up against the clavicle. And so I wanted to make sure I spurred it. And so I went into my room, and I don't know how comfortable I feel talking about the material I use to use it because it's very personally revealing. But let's just say that had this been a good Christian household, this baby would not have been born because the material that I used to procure the sample was it was just a lot of different things. It was like an adjective fest. Like there were so many adjectives in there that it was a very specific niche type of visual media that was stimulating.
You know, you didn't have to bring that up at all. You could have just glossed right over that if you didn't want to talk about it.
You know how I am.
I don't think anyone would be like, "Oh, what do you use?"
Oh, what was the porn though?
Whoa!
That's gonna dictate probably more so than astrology what the baby's personality is gonna be like.
Yo, he's a Capricorn, and he came out the wonky porn.
Capricorn wonky porn. I think we're on to something bigger there, Kyle.
Capricorn.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay. Sorry, I was about to go off on a huge side. So anyway,
good job. You caught yourself.
I went into. Thank you. I usually allow it, but I went into the room. I used my visual media to produce the sample very gently, put it in there, and then brought it out to them in a baggie and was like, "Here's my seed." And they were like, "Okay." So the plan was I was going. Which now that like when you think about like the biological processes that are contained in that, like there's no way this was going to happen being in a separate room because I'm going to be respectful. I'm not going to do it in the same room as them and be like, we're going to make this baby together. You're going to look at me while I make this baby.
I don't know if that's considered respectful or being Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, I didn't know. And I don't want to Weinstein anybody. That's just not in vogue anymore. No, it's terrible. So anyway, so the plan was I was going to, and then I was going to let them know, like, as soon as it happened, like, "Hey, get your shit together because I'm about to come out with a bag of steaming seed, and I need you." They have an hour window where it's viable, is what it's called. So they had to go home and do it. And so I was like, "I'm just going to tell you guys, like, hey, get ready. I just booted. Like, I'm getting ready to bring it out to you so you guys can hurry out the door."
Well, so they can, like, start running and you can hand off to them like a wand and
yeah, like the Olympic torch.
Run, go.
And so I came out and I gave it to them. And, so anyway, so that was what was supposed to happen. But what happened was, I did my thing, and then I was like, oh. oh shit, I'm doing something
Laid
much
there
bigger
for
than
20
myself.
minutes, took a nap.
Smoked a cigarette. I was like, oh, I'm doing something much bigger than myself right now. And so I like got out there and was like, I'm really sorry I didn't tell you, but here it is. Give me your purse. And I dropped in the purse, even though the outside of the bag was fine. It was like inside the container, inside the bag. And they were like, oh my God, thank you guys. Thank you so much. So, and that was it. And I was like, well, tell me how it goes. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't know. I guess
Let me know if you're pregnant tonight.
I feel like I should follow up with that question. Like, did it go well? And so anyway, they left, both of them, and then I didn't realize this was a twofer. So the next morning they were like, hey, we want to try again because it's the two top days of my ovulation cycle. So I was like, okay, so this time my buddy Kyle here is there, and so they came by, and it was the same process. And yesterday. Or the day prior, I didn't take my time, but I also wasn't like at a breakneck stroke. Like it was more leisurely. Mm-hmm. But this time, because I had multiple people, and I used much more traditional video stimulation, and I did it there again too, and I felt weird coming out with all these people in my house with a cup of my amazing elixir of life, and they took it, and the same thing. I said, "Let me know how it goes." And again, they're like, "What do you mean?
What the fuck are you talking about?"
I was like, "I don't know. I just feel like that's a respectable thing to say. Like, hey, let me know how it goes. Like, if I was at a movie theater, like, I want to hear how the movie. Well, I guess that'd be weird. Like." Have a good movie. Also, I can't wait to hear about how you felt about it. Like, tell me about it. And they're like, we're seeing Schindler's List. It's I want to hear about it.
I'm not familiar. I feel like you'll be one of the first to know if it takes.
If my seed. Yeah. It was a really interesting, and I'm just so happy to be a part of, giving life to those who, I mean, like they could have just as easily gone to a bank and, picked some average Joe or Tom or Harry or Laquan or Denaries or
just average Laquan.
Just an average. There's no such thing as an average Laquan.
Yo, first of all, when are you getting these papers assigned?
So anyway, full circle. I am a father with an asterisk after it, and
not a father yet, potential father.
Well, and that's why we're happy bourbon clinky
clink jizz
jizz. So we are going to sign some legal documentation that says that I am in no way financially, legally responsible for anything that happens. Morally, anyway. Like I'm going to be Uncle Gene in the background, and I'm sure I'll be around later assuming I'll be around later in life, and I'll get to see a small vestige of half of my genetic material, and feel honored and slightly. I think I don't know. It's intense to think about.
Because eventually it's going to come up, right? Like, I mean, it's eventually the baby's going to be like, wait, I have two mommies. Something happened here, and they're not going to be. They're
do
not
mommies have peepees?
They're not going to be like, oh, you're just some random's kid. They're going to be like, Uncle Gene, whose name isn't Gene.
his name is Laquan.
That's your dad.
And I'm like, I'm just kidding. It's John.
And then you're going to have to take him to a baseball game.
Oh, and that's okay. Like I love these ladies. They're amazing human beings. I can't. And the thing is like, and I told them, we had that really difficult conversation. I was like, just before we do this, like, what if the child, like, what if something goes wrong in vitro and utero? What if like, it has, a genetic defect? What if, and then I was like, wait a second. They've worked with people with disabilities. They've been foster parents before. Like they've gone through all this. I was like, you know what? If anyone was going to have, a child that needed additional assistance, they would be excellent for that.
Yeah. I mean,
and because I didn't do a geno test, like I didn't look at like what, like I know colon cancer runs in my family and like that, and depression and anxiety.
Did you tell them all that?
Yeah. We talked about it a long time ago.
Dope.
But, colon cancer won't be an issue for me for another like 10 to 20 years.
Hell yeah, brother.
That's right. To keep this tube silky and smooth.
Yeah. Keep up them healthy shits while you can. Mm-hmm. When your asshole isn't falling out with them.
When it's not shedding its lining. So yeah, I mean, it's really, it happened a lot. It happened faster. Like I knew it was coming, but like it did kind of give me a little bit of anxiety and a little bit of step back to be like, oh man, I'm donating. Like this is the one thing that like biologically and everything like society tells you contraception, like you shouldn't be doing. And I'm giving it away for someone to do it for that express purpose. But it's obviously contextual. Like,
yeah. I don't know how I'd feel about that. I mean, obviously you've had years to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I was in the same situation, I'd definitely have to think about it, but I feel like I'd come to the same conclusion and do what you did. But
well, it's like my immediate reaction was like, yes, because I think it's the right thing to do, and they're great people, and I want to help them, and society hasn't been kind to people who are homosexual and gay and everything else, and
might be heading that direction again.
God. And we try to stay away from politics here on
Do we?
Disco. We do, like from outright. We can give our little like our the truth that shines through.
That was the truth.
That is the truth.
That is truthful in the very sense of the word.
That is a truth bomb. And so I feel good about it. I was a little bit, I thought about it and I was like, oh my God, how am I going to feel whenever it's born, whenever it, blah, blah, blah. And the beautiful thing is that Brittany is black. And so it's going to have this beautiful mixed child kind of look, which I think is amazing. Biodiversity is incredible. And I think that's just, hybrid rigor and all these reasons. And just culturally, it's amazing. And so, it's going to be this amazing, because I already have kind of like olive darker, like, especially in the summer, I get really.
Yeah, you can't burn, right?
Don't bring that up, Kyle. That's embarrassing. Yeah, so there's a side. Every time Kyle and I and our friends go on vacation to anywhere sunbound, they're always like, all the whiteys are like, oh, let's put on sunscreen. And they're like, John, you want some? And I'm always, without fail, like, nah, gang, I have olive skin. I always say I'm some type of ethnic, because I have something, like I have dark skin. I don't know if it's Indian or Native American or if it's Hispanic, because my dad's from Texas.
It's probably some sort of European.
Probably some type of European. So I don't know, but the outcome of every single time is that I get cooked alive. And I always get really red.
Hilarious.
And then the next few days, I'm with my arms like walking around like a T pose, like trying not to touch anything, with sunscreen inside of every fold of my body.
I haven't put on sunscreen since I was like 5.
Sunscreen is such an interesting thing. They put it in, like, it's like everything. Like our lips are sensitive, our eyeballs, our eyelids. Like it's really, I don't know.
Europeans.
We're pasty. So anyway, I feel so. Yeah, I'm really excited for them, and I'm excited. I haven't heard back whether or not the my fell seed has taken root, but I'm sure I will hear soon enough. And I'm just really happy for them, and I'm happy for that I could be a part of that process. And I felt a little bit anxious initially, whenever whenever it was happening, where I was, whenever they were here, and then I was like, you know what, I think this is amazing. This is the right thing to do, and ultimately, and I think maybe it was the absence of the paperwork and documentation and everything that really kind of made me feel a little bit less okay about it. And then when I realized we were going to go, and I was like, oh, okay, everything's going to be fine. Like there's a lot of things that hadn't been nailed down yet.
I mean, I'm not saying you can't trust them, but that's a potential, I don't want to say life ruiner, but definitely completely change the course in your life if that goes a different.
To be responsible for a child?
Yes.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. And I have nothing but the utmost confidence, and I know these ladies very well. I don't think that would ever happen. But that's why we're going to meet to sign documentation. We probably should have done that a priori, the insemination. But
Yep. On that note, you know how much money you can make off of donating to a sperm bank?
It depends, because I've looked into this a lot in college. What you got?
It was like over $200 a pop.
If it's real. So the thing is that if you go to any Tom, Dick, Harold, and Krishna, I'm trying to use different like names. If you go to anywhere and you donate a seed and you're just some fella, like you get like $20 or $50. But if you go to a prestigious sperm bank and they have to do all these tests on you, you have to have this relationship with them, and sometimes in some cases it goes 6 months to a year, you can get really decent.
So do they like? Do they like rate your abilities, like how good your genes are?
Yep. They look at you. They look at your education, your background, your genetic testing, everything. And because if you're, we're out of the Stone Age. Like it's not just a random gamble anymore. They're going to look at everything, any information about you, so that when a woman comes to them or a couple comes to them and they say we want to use insemination, they'll be like, well, what are you looking for? These on, this back stock here, we got top shelf. This is pristine. Like this person was to Harvard and they're super athletic. And they were 35 when they gave this sample, and they have no abnormalities. And it's just a whole industry.
Interesting. You also have to have a college degree to do it,
mm-hmm.
Which is ridiculous. I'm not qualified to give sperm.
You're qualified to give it. You're just not qualified to donate it to an organization that says this is the highest quality.
That's the thing. I'm not trying to give it for free. I'm not trying to give it and then be responsible for it after at this point in my life. I'm down to give it and wipe my hands of it.
On the other side of the genital aisle, have you looked at what eggs go for?
No, are they a lot?
Yes. Now the procedure's invasive because they go in with like
a
thing. It's like it's like a little micro vacuum cleaner, and they literally remove the egg. I'm sure it's gotten. Hopefully, the process has gotten less aversive, but women can like sell their eggs for like thousands of dollars because we have a near infinite amount of
sperm.
Yeah, of our what is it called?
Sperm.
Meiosis. Like meiosis for the sex cells only produces so like we have infinite amount until we're like and then it just gets less virile, but women only have a set amount of eggs, and so that's like them getting paid for basically an opportunity at creating a child.
Yeah, I'd feel weird about that, giving up something that's not going to grow back, like a kidney or something.
Yeah, I mean you get like several a month. I think I don't know I think it differs from woman to woman, but here I am mansplaining about something about relative to women that I know very very little about.
You think if we showed up with like a carton of eggs, they'd laugh?
I think maybe they'd be like, we have never seen human eggs that size, and we're like, well, we got them from a real big person.
Yeah, well, don't crack them.
there's precious cargo in here, baby.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, okay.
Let's go in with a camera and a carton.
You know
of
what?
eggs.
I feel like what needs to happen is, I know we've talked maybe about this a little bit. Is there maybe we haven't, but there's like a lot of really malintended pranks like on YouTube and on the internet where like people like drive by with like a gun with blanks in it and they'll shoot at people and then they're like, oh, people freaked out, or they'll like scare people in public and like random things, and it's like that type of anxiety and trauma is like so, especially in the world now, is just like traumatizing. Like,
yeah, that's not. I think it's terroristic threatening.
Well, and so it's like I feel like we should do like, and I'm sure these things exist, but like we should do like really silly pranks like that. Like,
yeah, I'd be down for that, like Jackass, but we don't hurt each other or anyone else.
No, and it leaves people with a sense of happiness, and like we're like, hey, we're Savage Discourse, and here's our prank, and this is for you. And they're like, what do I do with this? And I'm like, it's a gift card. They're like, what's it for? I'm like, it has our YouTube account on the back, and if you come there you get free video.
You're like, dope. I guess I can start a fire with this. I've been seeing two types of videos lately: the terroristic threatening pranks like you talked about.
Those are just mean. They're just awful.
Or like the super just awkward pranks where like someone is trying to start a fight, or the ones where people like order like a DoorDash or like a pizza delivery and they have like a camera on the gun, like, oh, here you go, here's your tip, and they give him like $7,000, which is really cool. But he's like, oh, look at me. Come subscribe.
Yes. There's actually an amazing video by a guy named Meat Canyon. Have you seen any of those videos?
Meat Canyon?
Yes. His videos are super crazy, and they're super well animated, and they're super like uncomfortable. Yeah. And I love those.
Based on that name, I don't know.
I know. And so he did a video about those kind of people and basically saying that, like, I mean, in his crazy, twisted way, made it sound like they're a cult and everything else. But go
like
check
the people
out
that
Meat
walk
Canyon's.
up to like homeless people and record them giving them food. Like, oh, here you go, bro. Go ahead and shout out my YouTube real quick.
And so that is actually a much bigger conversation about the genuineness of an act and whether or not you determine if that needs to be broadcast or not. Like, in my opinion, if I'm doing something morally that I think will benefit somebody, I'm not going to go on Facebook or Twitter or make a YouTube account and be like, hey, I'm here with my mom, just gave her $50,000. Look, she's crying on the It's like, who is this for then? Is this for you to get more attention?
It's 100%
like,
for you. Anytime someone like brags about doing a good deed, it automatically negates it in my mind.
I agree with that. And again, meditate, hydrate. Like I
simulate,
make sure you're simulating. Like, I agree with that. And I don't necessarily feel the same dislike. Like, I used to have this very strong moral repugnance with those type of videos, and people are like, oh, look at how nice. And I'm like, what is nice about this? It's self-aggrandizing, it's narcissism, and they happen to have the money to do it. Like, I mean, that's great. And like, like you see, if you were to look, like, you see thousands and thousands of dollars donated by scientific organizations, by others, other things, and they don't make a YouTube video. They just do it because it's the right thing to do. And people do it all the time. You get your name commemorated in like a plaque on like a bridge if you donate to like a public work of art or a public service, an infrastructural project. And I agree. I just think I don't have that same feeling because ultimately the net worth of good has increased in the world. But I would also say that, like, that person's that ego is, has also inflated.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't. I shouldn't say it negates it. It negates me feeling like this person did a good deed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad the other person got help,
Yeah.
but now this person, he gets no credit in my eyes.
Well, and it's like that just seems like, okay, so there's several things happening if you were to break that down. Like, imagine, those videos and that person cries, that person like loses their shit because this changes everything for them. You are profiteering off another person's emotional responding.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, look at how I affected this person. Look at what that says about me. Look at me. And I guess that's all it is. Like, look at me. Look at how good I am. And it's like, if you really were that good, you wouldn't need a legion of online faceless people who have a parasocial relationship with you telling you that you did something good.
On that note, everybody subscribe and like our...
Please drop a like and sub me. We're trying to get to 20 by 2025.
Trying to get to 20 by the time we have 20 videos.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a grind after 17 subscribers. It's a grind to do a halt.
Grinded. But yeah, anyway, that's my neuroses and my, very strong feelings about things. But, the other thing is that, like people get in fights, like, sorry, to go back to those like more bad mannered, like misanthropic videos, like people are just like, people get in fights, and what that reminds me of? Okay. So tell me that when you were a kid, you didn't watch MTV. And on MTV, well, go ahead.
When I was a kid, I didn't watch MTV. And
Okay.
on MTV.
Okay, then let me pivot entirely from that line of conversation I was
Okay.
about to go down.
Tell me what else to say.
Do you ever remember Bully Beatdown?
I remember that.
Do you remember that? The show with Jason Mayhem Miller? Is that his name? Did I get it
Yes,
right?
sir.
So it's so interesting. So, get into on the topic of transitional topic of getting in fights. That show to me, when I was but a boy.
Away. Little lad.
When I was a lad, that show to me was everything, because I was bullied mercilessly in high school by actually an underclassman. I was a sophomore. He was a freshman, and all his cronies, and he was like the biggest baddick dude. I think he grew up next to a toxic waste dump where like all the genes. He was like unreasonably genetically testosterone infused at his age. And he bullied me every day for like my junior year. And because of a dispute over like a girlfriend, and ultimately he turned out to be a terrible person who was abusing her. But that's all. Yeah, I know you would never imagine that for someone who preys on smaller people. But anyway, so like back then, like when I saw that show come out, it was this huge vindication for me. I was like, oh my God, there is a sense of justice in the world. There is this sense of wrong and right, and these kids who are just maliciously adding unending suffering and anxiety and depression and just social aversion to these people are finally getting their ass kicked in a ring by a professional fighter. And that was until we looked into it a little bit further today. Before we made this episode. So Kyle and I were on YouTube, and I don't remember how, because we always get our brains turning before we start coding. And
little Brian exercise.
Actually getting the Brian out to run around. And we were watching video. I don't remember how. Maybe it was on like the recommended videos or something, but it popped up, and we started watching Bully Beatdown clips. And I just was like remembering about just the nostalgia and how vindicated and how incredible that was, and just how good it made me feel to think that maybe my bully would get his ass kicked in a ring by all these people. And then Kyle was like, well, I'm pretty sure that something happened with him. But I don't know. That was like 5 years ago. So we looked him up on Wikipedia, which is apparently an amazing resource to find anyone's criminal record if they're a public figure.
Yo, Wikipedia me.
You probably don't have one, buddy.
Try it out.
I don't have one. Okay, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
And apparently this guy, the main guy, Jason Miller. So we looked up a video of where he was now, and this was a year ago, and he had just gotten out of prison for like a felonious false imprisonment, burglary.
I've never heard of someone else getting in trouble for false imprisonment. When I hear false imprisonment, I feel like they were wrongly convicted of something. To say that someone falsely,
like they were in prison falsely.
Yeah, if someone to say someone if they said that I falsely imprisoned you, how was that not kidnapping?
Exact. No, and that's I think is he either prevented somebody from leaving a residence, or he did all this structural. He burglar. He actually. And so after seeing that, we were like, oh, I wonder. So he went on his Wikipedia page. That video was a year ago. He is back in California prison for destroying his girlfriend's house for domestic battery charges. And this guy from like 2011 until recently, like maybe before, this man, I mean, he's 39. He has every year, at least like once or twice a year, every other year. Maybe he has skips on a leap year. He has domestic battery charges, false imprisonment,
fell asleep
burglary,
naked in a church,
fell asleep naked. That those charges were dropped.
Graffiti to tattoo shop.
Which is really ironic.
I know, right? Like, you think he got a bad tattoo, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna show you.
Here's some ink that you can't rub off without a lot of extra work. And and so like it's like. And of course, when you look into like the MTV aspect of things, like the people are on there for self-aggrandizing reasons, and it's this big, it really isn't as pure and as honest and authentic as I thought it was as a lad. And it just it was really kind of like a really big disappointment to learn about, like this guy. And he just seems, when you see his videos, he's got kind of a lisp, and he's funny, and he's charming, and he jokes, and he's very serious when he talks to the bullies. And then to find out that like I think he's he got kicked out of high school because this is all
assault and battery.
It was like he attacked somebody. They had to move 40 miles away to a different region so he could go to school there, different district. And then he got another fight, and then like apparently he like got his yellow belt in Taekwondo at like 11. And so this guy, like his whole life has just been at war with the world.
Hold on, was that his highest achievement in martial arts, was a yellow belt in Taekwondo?
No, he trained.
That's the second level, right?
Yeah, that's what I was. Though I was at orange belt when I quit.
I was one step down from a black belt.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not.
Sorry.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Taekwondo.
What's okay? Brief aside. I didn't know you did Taekwondo.
Yeah, I did Taekwondo, judo, hapkido.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's why you're so zen, because your hands are registered weapons.
I actually have scars from doing like knuckle push-ups on the concrete there. I was in the elite group of slave children.
They let you do knuckle push-ups on the concrete.
They made us do knuckle push. It wasn't like, hey, if you guys want to go out in the parking lot. I was on the demonstration team.
Oh, that's cool. You were obviously in the top brass.
I was. I learned. It really ruined it for me because I realized I was going there and learning like 1 day a week and teaching 6 days a week, and I was paying them. That was like this. This seems like they figured out
employment packages.
Seems like they figured out corporate America pretty well.
No. That is so cool. So I did Taekwondo when I was in high school, like when I was my freshman or sophomore year at the YMCA with a guy who he was actually on like Animal Planet or something for some random reason. Like he helped fund like a zoo or exhibit. I don't remember his name. He was a really nice guy, but I got up to an orange belt before I stopped. So that means I effectively knew 4 different stances, could attack anyone on a cardinal compass, any cardinal direction, and as long as they came at me slowly and in a Taekwondo manner, I might be able to spar with them for a few minutes.
Yeah, if you do one of those super over-the-top blocks that block from 10% of like the degree they're coming at.
Exactly.
Yeah, I also realized around the end that Taekwondo is bullshit and it's not going to do shit for you.
Well, people scrap. Like people don't just like assume. It's not like in the animes where people have these incredible intros and everyone stands there and you wait while you show your style and then you it's like people just charge at you and start grappling.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if you're good with your kicks in Taekwondo, which is what it's all about, those could be useful in a fight, but the upper body is, you don't learn anything about punches that's useful or blocking.
No,
with
you
your
you don't
hands.
do punches. There's really no punch. I mean, I guess you do, but it's like
it's a straight punch. That's it. And like the crescent, or like the knife hand and like the stupid stuff. Like
I feel like if you get up to the level like brown belt, black belt, and all the first, second, third, and etc. dons that you get, like the extra training that you get afterwards, like I feel like you would be probably dangerous to mess with. But when you're at any level before, like it's not practical. It seems more like a dance, like more like a traditional. And maybe I don't know. Maybe that's my ignorance. I really don't know. But
well, I mean, I'm sure there's some places that are, but the place I went to was like it was just a corporate like dojo, I guess, with like 3 different places, and like it was clear. I mean, when I was like going up to get promoted to like a belt, and I did it, and I felt so proud. And I looked next to me, and a 4-year-old got the same belt.
Yes.
I was like, You know,
I remember that.
I feel like this might not be for me.
Dude, I remember my girlfriend came and saw me when I was at the Y, and I was so sweaty and in my dobok and like the gi, you know, the white traditional, and I just remember, I don't remember having to break a box or anything. I said to show my form, and I was just really like, back then I thought like, she's going to be so into this. Like, she's going to see me and she's going to see the 16-year-old man.
No.
And I mean, in all things, she didn't break up with me. Like, it was fine.
She didn't even break up with me that night.
No, she didn't. And she, you know, she was like, wow, that was cool. And I was like, yeah, I've been training for like 3 months. No big deal.
I'm up for promotion next month. My belt's going to be a lot less white.
That's fun. It's going to be dirty and stained with blood and feces. My own blood and feces.
That's that's why black belts are black, right?
Oh, that's metal. I like
dude.
that.
You got to shit on
You have to stain them yourself. That'd be super cool. So anyway, so isn't a bad. That's super cool. I didn't know that you were a bad boy.
I was not. I did Taekwondo.
You're not a bad boy? No. I think you're pretty bad.
Okay.
Thanks,
bud.
In a good way.
Ooh.
You know, like bad in the dope way.
Oh, I see.
Good, bad. So anyway, don't meet your heroes. Don't look into them, especially if they were MTV stars, because it turns out they probably have a history of domestic violence.
Yeah, if you're nostalgic about anything, do not revisit it. It will ruin it for you with your pessimistic adult mind. Things are not as good as they used to be.
Well, it's like I didn't even assume that, like, oh, people were getting paid. This is an industry. This is a performance. Like, because it seemed genuine, but it just like after it wasn't like if that was all fake, that's one thing. But then learning about that guy who is so charismatic on camera and is just so interesting, like to find out that he's just like everyone else.
Yeah,
just flawed I
honestly don't think that was fake. I'm sure there were some scripted parts like, hey, make sure you go out there and talk shit to the bully the whole time. But the fact that there were times where the bully beat the fighter makes me think that it wasn't scripted, you know, because people are tuning in to watch this bully get his ass beat. But sometimes they beat the fighter, which is a huge letdown for everyone. Yeah, and now the bully's walking away with $5,000. I don't think that they would script that ever.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Well, and that just, it's complicated because if there's genuine moments of authenticness, then, you know, how it, you know, everything kind of is suspect. It's hard to know what's real and what's not. So anyway, that was interesting. What was the other thing? Oh, yeah. So Kyle got us both into Mr. the Atlas, Mr. Randy
Santel, baby.
Dude, I wonder if he's married.
He's married to his dream.
He's married to his dream. Aww.
So there's a professional.
We talked about him on the last episode.
Did we?
Yep.
So Randy Santel.
But maybe people didn't hear that. Maybe they don't know.
All right. So Randy, let's forward wind. Randy Santel is a competitive eater. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, a competitor. He's a competitor.
He's a professional food mouther.
Technically,
he puts away food, my dude.
Yeah,
like, I watched him eat an 8-pound pizza the other day.
8 pounds?
8 pounds, man.
That's an immense za.
Yeah, I feel like I could do a lot of the things he does, but 8-pound pizza, that's a lot. He had to get one topping on it. You know what it was?
That sounds very, very cavalier of you to say that you think that. I'm sorry, cavalier of you. Cavalier's not
cavalier.
I was like, I said it. It didn't sound. It's very cavalier. You just say that you could do a lot of his food challenges.
I could, dude. Let's do a food challenge. Get me something and I'll eat it.
Okay.
You know who you're talking to.
I know, Mr. Black Hole Sun.
Black Hole Sun. Anyway, he had to get one topping on this 8-pound pizza, so he got green peppers, nice quality, healthy vegetables.
Oh, that's one of his things. Nice, healthy vegetables.
Anyway, we're trying to collab with him.
Yeah, so we actually, prior to this episode, we were watching a video of him smashing a burrito in North Carolina from one day ago. So he's still active during the C word. And I almost said the whole thing word.
The co word.
The co word. And we actually drafted an email and sent it to him. And we're hoping that maybe he'll honor or pity us. But the thing is like in all his videos, he's like, well, if people say that they need me somewhere, I'll go to that place as soon as I can. And so we sent him an email.
We need him.
We need
Put
him.
on your food cape, your hot dog cape.
We need this man. And so he we reached out to him. We sent him an email basically inviting him. There's several food challenges in Louisville, Kentucky, and he has not replied to us yet.
I was thinking there's a chance.
You think he got back to us? No. Kyle just checked our podcast email, and but we're hoping he gets back to us because in there we gave him several options. We would love to have you on the show, but we doubt that's going to happen. We also offered to pay. I just threw that out there to see if there was going to be any cost. And 3, if he wasn't going to do either of those, then we would just love to eat next to him or just be a part of it.
I just want to be in his presence.
Yeah, and just get to know him and see what he does.
I want to ask him about his post-meal recovery.
I bet it's bed.
This colon cleanse 5,000 pills.
Oh, that's right. His CC cleaner. That's a computer joke.
Oh man, I want to eat with him. I want to challenge him and get beat.
And the reason that Kyle and I, and the reason that Kyle showed him to me, and that we became, is he just seems like such a genuine dude.
Yeah, he seems like a great dude.
He just seems so nice, so honest, down to earth, very concrete.
Walks around with a teddy bear.
Walks around, just a real upstanding, in no way off-color man.
He's a big boy.
He just seems so cool. So like, we really want to like hang out with him and just see if he'll eat with us, and we just love to talk to him.
Yo, we could cook him some tomahawk steaks.
Do you think he likes Tommy boys?
I don't think preference. I don't think he has a food preference at this point. I think he just eats what's in front of him.
Okay. That's true. Well, and I know that his big thing is like conquering unconquerable food challenges.
Undefeated. I'll be like, no one's beaten look at this whole cooked cow. No one has ever eaten 2,000 pounds of meat. Come to Kentucky.
You really like him. You guys should get married.
Oh, okay. I'll do it. And if he can take my last name, he can be Randy Savage.
Oh my God!
That'll be the stipulation.
He'll be Randall Savage.
Oh, I'll just ruin it. That'll be the stipulation if I win a food challenge.
Sorry,
he has to.
Amora's talking.
He has to take my last name. That's better.
So, yeah, we're hoping to hear back from him. Maybe he'll give us our own Leonidas.
I'd pay for one.
I would pay for one too. And I want a t-shirt. I just want to meet him and be like, dude, you know what I want to do is talk to him because he seems so concrete in the way that he thinks and I just want to talk to him about abstract things and be like, what do you think about the slow heat death of the universe? What do you think about what happens after you? What do you think about, like, I just want to know how he would handle those.
You think he would have insightful things to say, or do you think
here's the spread? It's either going to be he's just going to be like, I don't think too much about that, but I don't know. What do you think? Or 2, he's going to have something to say.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
3,
he went to college. He graduated from college.
Yep, he has a bachelor's degree, and he's seeking his second bachelor's degree.
He's
in dietitian.
He's infinitely more educated than me.
Well, and the third option is that he's just going to hit us with some sagacious wisdom that's like very pithy and to the point. He's going to be like, the man who eats is the man who greets. We're going to be like, what does that mean? He's like, I'm going to leave you boys with this.
Yo, let's start a new form of Buddhism under Randy Santel, and he can be our sensei, and we can just follow him around and eat.
Our mouth fooder.
Yeah, dude.
Food mouther.
Dude, let's do it. That can be the religion. Santellism.
Oh, I would subscribe to that over just about any other off-brand.
Yeah. I mean, I'm free right now on the religious front.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually, Kyle and I are both looking. If you got some, show us.
Barring a miracle or Jesus appearing and smacking me in the face,
show us what you got.
Show me what you got. Give me a sign. Oh, man. You ever thought of that? If, like, Jesus or God appeared in front of you and was like, hey, asshole, I'm real. Would you be like, oh, man, I was wrong? Or would you be like, well, I got a brain tumor?
I didn't expect that. I was gonna say that's funny because I would have probably been like smacked myself in the face and been like, must be having an extreme psychotic meltdown right now. But let's just say he was like, no, Mr. John, I am, because he talks like Michael Caine. He's like,
if Michael Caine appeared to me in robes, I'd believe in whatever religion.
I know. He's like, you've got to believe in cream cheese, Kyle.
Eat your culture.
It's good for your stomach.
It's good for your microbiome. You need to restore your probiotics and prebiotics, Kyle.
Have you ever heard of the Scoby Hotel? Would you like to stay there with me? Oh, by the way, that shit is disgusting.
Well, I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. So you know that like the new trend. Well, I don't know if it's new. It's not. The new in America and like that I'm aware of it is like the kombucha.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason that kombucha is so, from my perspective, absolutely toe curling, tongue screamingly disgusting is that there's a live bacteria at the bottom. And okay, that's fine. Like yogurt has, cream cheese. There's a lot of foods that have live cultures in them. But at the very bottom, there is actually, it's like this acidic disc that has all this. It's called a SCOBY.
Ew.
And it's where all the culture comes from. And you can see, and that's what settles at the bottom. It's this disc. And some people that I know, I'm not going to name any names so people don't come after them because of their terrible lifestyle choices. But these people have SCOBY hotels, and so they have those little culture discs in their house that they grow to put in so they make their own kombucha.
Ew.
Yep.
It'd be one thing if like I knew there's bacteria in it and it was hidden, but like you can visibly see
That's what floats around at the bottom.
I've never had kombucha.
Oh, it tastes literally when I taste it tastes like stomach acid. That's why I don't like it because it's so acidic.
Probably is. It's probably just some really healthy person's stomach acid.
I made this myself. Well, and the thing is, like, it's supposed to be really good for you, and it's supposed to have a lot of beneficial properties. But I can't, like, if they made it in like a fruit punch flavor or like something that was easily
in Coca-Cola flavor,
that was really palatable to my incredibly childlike palate. Like I would do it, but it tastes like it's like the flavors are like Indian Kiss and Sunshine Winterfall, and it's like these strange names that like when
something
you eat
to be at Rainbow Blossom,
and it's just stomach acid. Like no matter how they change it, it just tastes like stomach acid.
So if they had a kombucha Lunchable, you'd be all in. Yes, the answer is yes. You don't need to answer that. Did I tell you about the time when?
Well, you're not gonna give me a chance.
No.
To turn
Did I tell you?
Moving on.
Did I tell you about the time I got really into? Was it yogurt? What was it? It was like whatever's really good for your gut biome. I think it was. Oh yeah, it was Greek yogurt.
Oh yeah.
Like the non-sugar Greek, like the healthiest Greek yogurt you can get. And I got really into it for like 2 weeks. Did I tell you that?
No.
So when I get really into something,
you don't tell me anything anymore.
You're right. This was a while ago. This is before you were even close. But like when I really get into like a new food fad, like I just go all in. Like,
oh yeah, Kyle. I do know something about that. Let's talk about your beans.
Beans.
What did you do? You went from steak to what was it? To beans to I remember it was hummus.
Oh,
chickpea bean, dirt paste, and then you went to beans, and then you went to bananas, bodobes, and then what's your new thing?
Now I'm just not eating. I'm fasting.
Oh, okay. See, you need to moderate your faddom.
No, I don't. This is how I work. This is how I've always worked. This is how I play video games. I know live video games for 2 weeks and then never play them again.
So let me tell you something from the psychological realm. There is an entire treatment. It's systematic systematic desensitization, and it's used to decrease your aversion to stimuli and thoughts and etc. And there's a more advanced version of that, which is called flooding. And it's where, like, for example, you put somebody in a room. Like the classic textbook example is that if you have someone who smokes cigarettes, you basically buy them like 2 packs, sit them down, and you're like, you're going to smash these in your face and your lungs right now. And usually they vomit and throw up and develop a taste aversion. They develop an aversion to that stimuli. You're essentially doing that to yourself with foods. You're inundating your body with nothing else of that until you hate it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it doesn't last long term because you come back to it.
Yeah.
Or you haven't gone back to. Well, have you gone back to Barney Narnars or beans? Or
I eat Barney Narnars occasionally, but not like. There was a few week period where every time I went to the grocery store, I was buying a bushel, and I was going like every day. I was averaging like 6 bananas a day.
A nanner bush.
Yeah. Well, because I was running a lot too, and I was like, potassium, good for me. Did I tell you I finally did the banana hot dog?
Yeah. Remind me.
I put a banana on a hot dog bun and ate it.
You had the opportunity to play that up and make it really exciting,
Nope.
and you were like, I inserted a naked nanner in between a stale wheat hot dog bun.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time just because it's aesthetically pleasing. It looks like a hot dog.
It does not look like a...
Shut up.
It looks like a Caucasian, like an albino hot dog.
Yeah, it looks like a hot
How
dog.
did it taste, Kyle?
It was one of the worst things I've ever had.
Really? I would have thought it would just taste bland.
No, yeah, I guess so. And everyone that I've brought this up to in the last few years, because as I said, this is a dream of mine. I brought this up to countless people.
You didn't say it was a dream of yours.
I said this was a dream of mine.
Give me the history.
One day I was thinking, hey, what if I put a hot dog on a banana, or a hot dog on a banana bun?
Just inserted it into the peel.
Dude, imagine peeling a banana and there's a curved hot dog.
I've had wet dreams way worse than that, Kyle.
I don't know what. I think I'd eat it.
If it was a cold pulled pork hot dog.
Have you never had raw dogs?
Not in the sense you're talking about, I don't think. I actually did used to eat hot dogs. As an aside, when I was a kid, my mom would be doing her step aerobics to like 80s and 90s. No, it's serious.
This.
She'd be doing it in the in the living room. And when I was a kid, like my mom said that apparently when I first learned to start talking, I talked in negative sentences. So instead of saying, "Can I have a cup of water?" I would go up to him and be like, "Why can't I have a cup of water?" And I would do that in front of family, friends, and guests. They'd be like, "What's wrong with that child?"
Or do you abuse him?
I know. Why can't he
have
have some water?
Yeah.
Give your goddamn kids. And
I agree with the 2-year-old.
Come with mother. Well, I can't tell I have some water. And so for some reason, I thought I was doing something wrong if I took food without asking, but like I was a burgeoning bouncing Bowie and I had a lot of metabolic increases. And so I would go to the fridge. I would steal a cold hot dog and I would go into the room, which was my dad's study at the time. I would go into his room, which is an open door that leads in the living room. My mom did her step aerobics and I would eat that hot dog behind the corner of that room and peek in on her and look and see if she's looking. And I would just slowly eat the hot dog. And she'd always be like, "John, are you eating a hot dog?" And I'd be like,
No.
I was hungry. And she'd be like, "Honey, if you want something, you can just ask." And I was like, "Can I have this hot dog?" And she was like, "Yes, of course." And I would feel vindicated. I was a weird kid.
What an odd story. I used to eat cheese, like slices of cheese.
Me too.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sneak it, though. I just eat it.
Speaking of weird, I used to be a really weird eater, maybe on the spectrum, but like when I was at church, whenever I was mandated to go to my, weekly brainwashing ceremony, it was Presbyterian. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't fire and brimstone. It was love and public outreach. But I would go there and they would give us the, after
the cracker.
The wafer for the Eucharist or for the I know the it's funny, I know the biblical word, I don't know what's it called, the communion, but they would give you the and the blood of Christ, because that's funny that we're eating a person, but cannibalism. But we would, as a ritual, we would eat that, and then afterwards they would have like a big feast in the in the auditorium, and we would go in and they would just have like those little like Hawaiian dank ass buns with like pulled pork and chicken and different stuff on there. And I would always take the bread from that and I would roll it up in really tiny balls and I would put it in the middle of my tongue towards the back, and then I would pull my tongue back and swallow it.
What?
I did that. It felt so pleasing to do.
What? Why?
Who's to say, Kyle?
I mean,
I might be on the spectrum.
Were you getting any taste from it?
Yeah. I would put it on there and it would just like the ball itself and like the way it would come together and then like the swallowing and I'd feel it. And then I had so many more little bread balls I could make.
Do they make Hawaiian rolls in normal burger size? Like Hawaiian buns? Like
I
real
can't
ones?
imagine that they don't.
Have you ever seen one though?
No.
I've eaten literally millions of Hawaiian rolls.
in your career?
In my career. And never have I seen a full-size one you could put a hamburger on.
Mm-mm.
Let's make it.
Hawaii.
We need some
burger.
Hawaiian wheat.
Hawaiian wheat. What were you telling me about the other day? Bread burgers? Potato bread.
Jesus, bread burgers.
Wow.
Potato bread, dude. It's made out of potatoes. High in fiber. It's great for you. It's the only bread I get now. Light potato bread. 35 calories a slice.
That's insane.
And it tastes like white bread. All right, I'll take that. It doesn't taste like Wonder Bread, but it tastes somewhere in between like Kroger white bread and Kroger wheat bread. It's
Kroger
like,
woke bread.
Yes, this is the Kroger woke bread.
Expands your consciousness.
What are we talking about? Because we changed subjects real quick.
Your dream dog.
Okay. It was shitty. It was bland. But I could have saved it easily by putting peanut butter on it. But I wasn't into that. I wanted to keep the dream alive. Like just plain old banana dog.
The thing that I love about this story and this tale is that you have been gestating this idea for years.
I know. And everyone was like, Kyle, that's going to be terrible. And I was like, what do you mean? How could it possibly be?
Well, this doesn't have the same idea mark of it. Like, it doesn't have the social practical effect and benefit. It was really, like you said, it's more of just this dream that you were chasing.
It popped in my head one day and everyone was a naysayer and I just wanted to prove the world wrong. Alas, the world was right.
Sometimes the consensus is correct.
And now I know. But I had to find out. But putting a little bit of peanut butter on it would have saved the whole thing. Anywho, before that, we was talking about my yogurt experience.
Yes.
My Greek yogurt experience.
The way that you flood yourself with foods you like to eat, and you eat them for approximately 2 to 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm. So, as you can imagine, I read online that Greek yogurt is really high in probiotics, so it's really good for your gut biome, which is really good for your overall health. I stopped reading right there, though, and didn't continue reading. Eating too much of it is going to freak your gut biome out. So I got...
It's like immigration into your country, and all these people are coming in. They're like, we don't want you here.
Dude, I got like a gallon jug of it, and because I was mixing protein powder with it, too. It was really good. Some protein powder and granola, mix it all up.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Man, it's really good. So I ate like a gallon jug every 2 days for like 2 weeks, and
of course you did, because you don't do anything in moderation.
I basically lived on the toilet.
You just moved everything from your bedroom.
Slowly. It started with the laptop, ended up with my bed just for convenience, so I could just roll over onto the toilet.
Just cut like a corner out of the chunk of the bed to fit it around the toilet, so you just roll over and plop on, and then...
Yeah, I haven't really revisited Greek yogurt since. I figure if my gut biome has a problem, it'll tell me.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Your body does have a lot of fail safes, and it'll tell you like you'll vomit, your belly, you get the bubble gut, your belly, you'll start firing out these intangible logs.
If I ever have a post McDonald's shit after not eating McDonald's, then I'll know.
Yes. That is a good way to know. And the smell. Dude, there's a so when I was at my previous place of employment, we actually had this on the wall. It was called the Bristol Stool Chart. And
I've seen that actually.
And it has
I've actually looked it up while producing
you
want
to be, I think, number 4 or number 5, and it's like these little tiny, like kind of creamy but more, like melted Snickersy but more solid, like, and then there's like all these in betweens that are terrifying.
Yeah, and it tells you why and all that. I remember I looked that up one day because I was like, my shit is very different all the time. And I learned it's because I just go ham on one sort of food group.
Yeah, let's look at these. Here we go. Okay. So, type 1.
Have you ever had I guess I have had a type 1. Severe constipation.
Dude, number 4 is where you want to live. Like a
That's
smooth,
where
soft sausage or snake.
I am normally number 4 or number 3. Oh, they're both normal.
Yeah.
Well, look at me being interesting.
I am sometimes 5, sometimes 6, but most of the time I'm 4.
Like a smooth, soft sausage or snake.
And that's normal.
A sausage shape with cracks in the surface.
So we had so many kiddos that had like, bowel and dietary and stomach issues that we had to have this in the room so we could know if they were sick or if something was going wrong. And so I had this on the wall, and I just remember the clinic manager being like laughing and being like, oh, that's a funny joke. And I was like, no, this is for a kiddo. And he's like, you're just going to leave that on the wall? And I was like, what's up? He's like, why don't we put this in their drawer? And I was like, all right, but
if you want,
I prefer it be up top so we know what we're dealing with here. I just like, oh, and look at this one. Look at this incarnation. Look, it's like an upward inflection.
I've had those.
It's fluffy pieces with ragged edges. A mushy stool.
Watery.
Types. I feel like I feel like I hit like my comfort zone is between like a 4, a 3, and a 6.
So a 5.
I mean, if you did the average, it'd be like a 4.6 or something. But like 5 is like, no. I mean 5. It's not clear cut edges. Like they're ragged.
I am 9 times out of 10 a 3 or a 4,
and
then there's post McDonald's, which is 7.
Oh, dude, post McDonald's is probably type 8, which
you
which
heard
has its own.
You heard it from the other room. What just happened?
I heard what sounded like a in an old submarine, you know, when they throw like the what are they called, like the stalwart, where they open the door and and it goes and it opens. I was like, Kyle, are you okay? And you're like, yeah, I'm taking off.
I was about to launch upstairs. Dude, McDonald's. I just got off a 36-hour fast and decided the healthiest thing for my body would be eat 30 chicken nuggets.
And I love that you call them chicken nuggets, because we all know that that's just filler. That's just cardboard filler.
That's what chicken nuggets are.
You know, when I worked at Wendy's, when I was a lad, when I was 16, I think it was my first job. Actually, I have a fun side story to tell about this. But my first job was I cooked a bunch of nuggets. And the thing that I told everybody is when you pull those nuggets out of the grease, out of the fryer, they smell deliciously like sawdust. Like, I don't know how to explain it. They taste like chickeny sawdust.
What do you? How is that a positive thing?
I just was, and I would smash them. And of course, if one manager was on shift, so it was really cool. At the Wendy's I was at, we had 2 Kathys, a Kathy with a C and a Kathy with a K.
Oh, let me guess. The C was the cool one.
Yes, she was, and they were a couple. They were dating.
Oh,
yeah, and so when Kathy,
that's confusing.
What
if they got married?
Kathy, do you take Kathy? Yes, we Kathys do.
I pronounce you Kathy Douglas on Kathy Douglas. You may kiss the Kathy Douglas.
Kathy's, you may do what you do. And so when Kathy was there, it was totally cool. And she had like a bowl cut hair that was down, was missing a front tooth, and she was super nice and sweet. We could do whatever we want. She was like, just don't let the customer see you. And we were like, okay. Now when Kathy with a K was there, she looked like she was from Tennessee, like a Dolly Parton, kind of had the hair that was like, if she had more hair, would have been up in this big,
So like the typical Karen.
Well, but she was older, and she was someone that I went to war with because I did not respect her, I did not like her, and I to this day have a trouble with that in professional settings. But I get along with everybody, just not people that I don't think
that have authority over you.
No, I'm okay with people who have authority over me. I have very good relationships. It's when people flaunt that, or they don't know what they're doing and they impose their incompetence on me, and then I have to change what I'm doing in order to meet their agenda. Anyway, so. And she was the woman that if you got caught, like, you would be insta-fired. But the side story I wanted to tell you is there was another man there named Burl, who is a very, very beautiful homosexual man. Very cute. Had like a nose ring or a lip piercing or something. And he was super into me. And of course, when I was like 16 years old, one of the first things that I did was I went to Walmart because I was just getting into the emo scene. And I didn't just buy emo girl jeans. I bought girl jeans, and they had sequins in the butt, and they had a butterfly on the back cheek, and they gave my cake some push. And when I went there, he was like, I can't, because like there's nothing to do in Corydon, Indiana, where I grew up. Like, it's a small southern town, and so you either went to the Walmart or you went and did heroin or meth. So like I chose to go to the Walmart after work.
It's a good choice.
Came back to work, and he was like, "Oh, John, you looking?" And I was like 16, 17. I must have been 18 because you can't. Can you work when you're 16?
Yeah,
you
can work when you're 16.
I think I was like 16 or 17 because I was like just about to be 18. And he would always be like, I'm having a house party next weekend if you want to come by. And I was always like, oh, you're so funny. And now, as I look back on that, I'm like, he was trying to get some young strange.
Yeah, he was. You're wearing a butterfly on your ass. What do you mean?
He's like, I've got some nectar for that little fly.
I mean, it's pretty inviting.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? I was asking for it.
Yeah, you were.
I was asking for it. So anyway, that's my side story.
Okay.
So anyway, nuggets are amazing, but I don't think that all nuggets, because we talked about this. Like, I think you or maybe my roommate said this. Like, all the main pizza chains order their cheese from the same place, but I don't think nuggets are created that way. Like, I think some nuggets are from chicken that have been pumped with hormones, which is really terrible, and then some chicken I'm pretty sure is just from corn and grain and filler.
Yeah, I mean, a nugget, I think legally, in order to be called a chicken nugget, it has to be 20% chicken.
Are you?
But I think it's like mostly chicken, but a lot of it's like stuff you wouldn't really eat, like the bones and the beaks and stuff grounded up, and the feets.
Oh, that's intense.
I don't care. It tastes great.
It
Dude, I'll eat anything if it tastes good. I should have been on Fear Factor.
McDonald's chicken nugget are... Okay, hold on. What?
Type in what percentage.
Well, it says that they contain 100% whole breast meat, and then KFC says 100%. 100%.
That's
breast
Popeyes and KFC. What does McDonald's say?
McDoubles.
It says 9 grams of protein. There you go.
Oh, wait, here we go. It turns out that chicken muscle, what we traditionally think of meat, makes up less than half of the chicken in nuggets sold it to you. The rest is ground up fat, bones, blood vessels, and skin.
Hell yeah, brother. That's metal.
That is so metal. Jesus, that is also disgusting.
It's not what's disgusting about that?
I think.
How can you justify that as being disgusting other than you learned that was disgusting?
So, like when I admit, okay, so I'm going to show. I'm going to be ignorant here, but here's my hypothesis. My hypothesis is that for centuries we did use all parts of the food, but we use them for different reasons. So, like the meat we would cut and section, that'd be meat. The feathers we'd use for ceremonies, for rituals, for clothing. The skin would be used for clothing, for hides. The bones would be used for weapons. And like that makes sense to me because that's all. And the marrow, people would use the marrow for cooking and different stuff. And maybe, but like that all makes sense to me. But when you grind all that up, it's like there's just something that screams at me that it shouldn't be digested.
Well,
because like when you think of like an owl or like another animal, they don't eat. Sometimes they eat the bones, like some do, but a lot of animals they don't eat the bones. They just eat the meat and they eat through the skin, and they but they literally are going for that visceral meat.
Considering that the FDA is pretty included in all this stuff, I think that if it wasn't okay, like if there was some glaring problem, like a chicken bone's gonna kill you, that wouldn't be okay. Plus, considering.
That's true.
We're not going to use the feathers and bones and stuff for our ceremonies anymore because it's 2020. Isn't it best that we do go ahead and use them and eat them if we can, rather than just throw them in a trash bag?
Well, that's true. And the other thing is I don't know, because in the last administration and in the other conservative administrations, they tend to gut the places like the EPA and FDA and replace them with people that are in the lobbying groups that support those conservative and deregulating markets, which is the worst idea for food and health and climate and everything. But assuming that let's say all things are consistent, like I guess that makes sense. Especially it's a way to save money is basically what they're doing. They're saving money and they're using all the animal, which I guess makes environmentally friendly. But
yeah,
I don't know. I guess just it's like the same reason whenever. I don't know if these two things are going to be equal at all, but I'm going to use this example. It's like whenever you read about like logic experiments and you talk to somebody and you're like, okay, let's talk about incest. So let's say that two perfectly healthy 22-year-old brother and sister, they go out to a farmhouse and they decide, they're both single, they're both in good health, they decide to use contraception, birth control. There's no way they would get pregnant. And they decide to do this one-time sexual act. They have sex. They both enjoy it. It was consensual. They had a great weekend. They go home. What's wrong with that? And most people, from a gut instinct, can't tell you why it's wrong. They're just going to say, like, well, they're brother and sister. Like, okay, but it's safe. Well, but it's wrong. Why? And they can't get beyond. And that's like, I guess that it's like that moral like bottom ground I haven't investigated further. And like, there's a lot of reasons genetically that people have hypothesized why people in the consciousness determine that wrong, because at a very subconscious lower level, there's genetic issues with that, there's biological issues with that, there's our cultural norm standards issues with that, but it's like so it's like for that same reason, it's like I have that same resistance to it, and I don't know if those two things are to be conflated, but I just feel like there's some reason why I'm like it just doesn't feel or sound right that
I definitely think it can be, but I think that unlike incest, this is okay. I believe that.
Well, why is incest wrong, Kyle? If they protect themselves and they do everything they're supposed to, and they're just two brother and sister just having a good time, and they never do it again, and they go on to get married and live happy lives and never speak of it, or they look back on it fondly. I don't know. They never talk about like the implications after.
Well, I'm sure it's not great on the psyche, first of all. Fucking a family member. Second of all, unless they're super duper safe, like surgically remove your organs safe, there's always a chance that you're going to bring a life into this world that shouldn't have been.
What if they were both sterilized?
If they were both sterilized?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still think, I don't know. I mean, maybe the reason it's weird to me is because I have been taught that, like, it's just a learned behavior. But I feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you are feeling that way about this food thing. And you trying to see the light on eating beaks is a lot more practical than me trying to see the light on incest.
That's an excellent diversion from answering the question, Kyle. That is very true. And I mean, again, I want to say, like, publicly, like, I am not for incest. Like, I just love that. I just love that topic because there's a lot of research on it, and it's so fascinating to see why that there's like a bottom floor of what people can really understand of like their morals and values, and they hit this ground and they're like, well, I don't know, I can't tell you, it's just wrong. And it's like, what is that? And I mean, and the argument for geneticists and the argument for evolutionary biologists is that there's reasons built into it, but that's a whole other thing. But the point is that, yeah, maybe I just need to, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I
think you need to not overthink food. Like, that's, I mean, I was the same way. Like, I didn't grow up eating all this crazy stuff. I used to have like a little child palate. Like, I got everything like plain with ketchup only. And if you would have told me that...
It sounds like maybe you were on the spectrum a little bit.
Yeah.
It's very popular is to get... A lot of kiddos and adults have very... because of the sensory, the texture is can be so pronounced on their palate, and so it can be aversive, and so they get very plain. And that's why I have this hypothesis that McDonald's is perfect. And that's why when you always see that, it's always a staple of their diet, and it's because it's not real food. It's processed, and it has... Every time you eat a McDonald's hamburger, cheeseburger, you taste the exact same thing. It's the same taste. It's like a branded taste.
You know, I might be on the spectrum a little bit because
You don't think you are. Just
there was a period in my life when, unrelated, I'm sure, but when I ballooned up to 300 pounds, I was eating McDonald's for like 2 out of the 3 meals a day. And I'd get the same thing every time. Like, start out with like a couple double cheeseburgers and then a couple double quarter pounders and then even more double quarter pounders, triple quarter, and quadruple quarter pounders,
1 full pound, 2 triple half, sub the half for the duck quadruple.
Yeah, but
I love that math.
No, there was something about it. I love the consistency about it.
Yeah, you get the same product every time, and I think that is what is not food, because food is alive and it's diverse and it's interesting, and even though you make the same meal, you could have cooked it from a different. It's like you never step in the same stream twice. If you're using actual organic, raw, whole foods, you're going to get something that's much, it's going to be similar to the same product, but there's going to be small variances in it. Whereas you go with like a chemical product, it's going to be like, it has to be on brand, especially for a global thing like that, for it to be like, oh, when you taste a McDonald's burger, it's not just a generic burger because it has that chemical taste to it.
Yeah, I suppose. Have you seen the video? Some lady has like a McDonald's Happy Meal or some meal that she put in her closet 20 years ago, and she randomly breaks it out, and it's like, it looks like it's been sitting out for like a month.
Yep.
Oof.
I've seen those.
It's interesting. It's probably why it's kamikaze the toilet just now. Wow. Where were we?
I think we got off. I think it was the yogurt, your stomach, we kind of got into the food and then some incesty stuff.
Oh yeah. So what's your favorite chicken nugget? Speaking of incest.
That really brings me to my favorite chicken nugget. Talking about brother, sister loving. Brother, sister loving cousin.
Rank your top 3.
Top 3. Oh, okay. Ooh, I've been waiting for this question for
You're going to disagree with
decades.
me 100%.
Okay, so my top 3, like just nuggets that I like when I eat, I'm like in the state of euphoric ecstasy. Yeah. Like this is the perfect chicken nugget.
And we're not talking chicken tenders, right? Just nuggets.
No. We're doing nuggies. No, tenders is a whole other variety because I just had to cut like excise canes off the table because like
that'd be number 1 for tendies.
I would say my favorite. Okay, it's gonna be a toss up between Wendy's and Burger King for number 1, and then McDonald's is somewhere on the list. But let's just go like the ones that I consume the most is probably Wendy's. Burger King is number 2, and then The third one would be like, I'm trying to think who else has like, maybe like the Tyson nuggets that I like get from the store, like the spicy one.
Well, actually, those are okay with an air fryer.
Yeah, with an air fryer, they're really
when you had to
delicious.
microwave it, it's bad. But
Oh, dude, I used to microwave before I got. Dude, getting an air fryer in 2020 is literally like Prometheus getting fire.
yeah,
It's like I am now able, like I've been heating things up in the microwave for years that I should have never been heating up.
mm-hmm. No, 100%. I use the air fryer for pretty much everything. I shouldn't.
Cake.
Yeah, no. Some things need to go in the fridge, but I just put them all in the air fryer. I would say, and you're gonna disagree, McDonald's is my number one nugget, man, because when they're fresh, and this is why I've been getting 30, not just because I want to eat 30, but because when you get 30, I think they tend to make them fresh. Like I don't think they have just 30 sitting around because they get you to pull up to the little queue spot, and I guess if anyone else pulls up behind you, they give them the old nuggets, and then they cook you 30 straight up. And there's something about like fresh Nuggies out of the oven from McDonald's, well, out of the deep fry juice from McDonald's. It's like they're crunchy and juicy, and they taste a little oniony. I think they're using like some sort of onion season now.
I think that you are coming to your pearls for swining in reverse. You're coming to this dirty pile of dog shit, and you're like, oh, can you not smell the delicious? What is that? Is that wheatgrass, lemongrass I smell in the product? I think that you're imbuing it with way more respect than it deserves.
Oh,
but I'm glad.
maybe.
But I'm glad you like them.
And then Burger King, and then Wendy's.
Okay.
Do you remember that? Was that Burger King when we both got 100 nuggets each?
Yes, it was. Oh boy.
How far? I think I got 80 in.
You got 80 and I got 40 in.
I was like, I can 100% eat these next 20, but it's not going to feel good, and I have nothing to prove anymore.
In a rare moment of moderation, you ate 80% of the 100 nuggets.
I know, that doesn't even sound like me.
No, it doesn't. Were you sick that day?
No, I wasn't drinking because I wasn't allowed to.
Maybe you had an off moment.
I don't know what it was. I think I just had I think it was because like I was eating for like 20 full minutes. Normally when I eat, it's like a 5-minute ordeal, but I think 20 minutes in, I was like, I'm probably good here. 20 minutes of just jamming food down. But yeah, 80 Nuggies. I think that's my record.
Because I got through 40 and I had to give the rest away, and you were like, wow, and you said you were going to go nug for nug with me, and I was like, Kyle, you are a machine.
You did say that. Yo, that's what we should do with Randy Santel if he comes in, a Nuggie challenge.
I would love that.
How much were those? How much were 100 Nuggies?
They were.
Wasn't it like?
Don't you get like 10 for like $1? Some
yeah, it was
crazy
something
amount.
insane like that.
So it was like, I think after everything, it was like $30 or $40.
Dude, so we dropped like $500 on Nuggies.
I mean, I think that like weren't we going to do 500? Weren't we going to split 250? That was what you came to me with. You're like, John. Listen, hear me out. I've got an idea, because all the boys were coming over. We were going to have a game night and play some games and everything. Kyle was like, listen, 500 Nuggies. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, I want to eat 500 Nuggies. And I think I talked you down from 500 a piece to splitting 500 to 250 a piece. And then I was like, when we looked at the price of that, we were like, all right, let's just do 100.
Yeah, dude. I dropped way down from what I originally wanted.
You backed away from your deal.
When I'm hungry, though, man, I feel like I can do anything. I can do anything food-wise. Okay. I
thought that was your superpowers, being in a fasted state. You're like, yeah, I flew to Portugal and back.
No, I have the most confidence in my belly when I'm hungry. I'm like, I could eat this TV. No problem.
If it was a giant breaded and battered nugget.
Oh, dude, deep fry this TV. It's going down the hatch. No problem.
Down the old hatchery.
Man, I would like to do it. I'd like to go Nuggie for Nuggie with Randy Santel.
Randy Santel. Randy Santel.
How far in do you think you could get?
Okay, well, given that he ate 8 pounds of pizza, I'm sure he could probably do 500 nuggets.
The problem is with nuggets, if you notice when he eats, and any competitive eater, they like grab like the big massive burger and then
they
just,
take
like,
small,
gnaw it from side to side, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
and do like a typewriter thing, like with a nuggie, you have to keep on picking it up and throwing it down the hatch, and eventually his arm gets tired.
You think that's where the fatigue comes from? Is the
100%.
arm strain?
Mm-hmm. Unless he brings his big ass shovel and just.
You know what? He probably has like nuggie tongs where he like.
Actually, he has one where he ate 7 pounds of chicken, like popcorn or like chicken. I guess it was like popcorn chicken from a Chinese restaurant. It was $1,000 challenge, and he finished it and got $1,000. But that's what happened. He was eating them, and like 20 minutes in, like he was getting tired of just eating them all, and he picked up his shovel.
Reps.
Yeah, he picked up his shovel and ate it.
He does have.
I totally just presented a scenario that would happen, and then realized that I've seen the exact scenario.
That's funny. Well, whew, that's good. I think that was a good chat.
Was it?
Yeah.
We talked about semen, talked about diarrhea.
Talked about your meeting your heroes.
Mm.
Talked about the merits of Nuggies and incest.
What if meeting Randy Santel is like you revisiting Bully Beatdown?
I'm willing to take that chest. That chest. I'm thinking about it. Ooh, those pectorals. I'm willing to take that test because I don't know anything about him other than what I see, and he seems so genuine. Like now, like when you compare like Jason Miller. You compare them, like he has the bravado and the charisma and he's all over the place. And Randy, after all the videos you've seen and the ones that I've seen with you and the ones I've seen, he's so consistent and he seems like that's just him. Like that's just how he is.
Yeah.
And so like I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt to say that he's going to be, that's just how he is.
Yeah. Me
so
too.
I want to meet that. So I am going to meet my hero. And I'm going to eat my words, and I'm hopefully going to eat some food with him.
And eat with my hero.
There eats my hero.
Watch him as he eats.
That's what I want to do. All right. Well, thank you guys. I didn't get to talk about the books I'm reading, but that's okay. We'll get to it. Is this your diversion?
Oh, bother.
Oh, dang. John didn't get to.
Oh, we need to start putting the books you talk about in the description. That was suggested to me about 14 episodes ago, and I totally forgot doing that.
Oh, dag, yeah. I could still do that.
Yeah.
I could just create a list. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. You hope you found this informative as well as exciting and arousing. And
did we give any informative things during this besides the proper consistency of your poop?
Poop, we talked about why incest is not great. Don't meet your heroes, about making sure that you get sperm documentation prior to inseminating.
All right, couple good points.
Yeah, we had some real practical life advice. It wasn't these big lofty, ivory tower conceptual things. It was very, very down home.
Nice. Oh, we didn't even talk about ashwagandha when we were talking about that.
We didn't.
We'll do another episode on ashwagandha. Yeah, it deserves.
Because I want to talk about that because I did not get the ropes I was promised.
It deserves a whole episode. We're going to talk about crafting rugs and quilting.
That's right.
With ashwagandha.
That's right. We'll plant that seed. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm John.
I'm Kyle.
And as always,
bye.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Oh, Kyle, I was about to be like, something feels wrong.
No,
feels wrong.
Let's see. What do we got? I wrote it down somewhere. Hold on. Hydrate.
There you go. Get the next list.
Meditate.
Okay, now this one's on the back of a napkin.
Oh, it's all smeary.
No, I think it says sign for your packages.
Oh, it's all simulation.
Okay, thank you guys.